Dr. James J. Parks' father served in World War I. Jim grew up with the stories of his father and other veterans recounting their exploits in the war. From his first-hand association with these veterans came the exposure to World War I aviators from America, Great Britain, France, Italy, and Germany. As a result, Jim started collecting World War I artifacts and created the magnificent museum that exists today. Andy Parks grew up following his father's dream, and after his father's passing, continues the joint vision of a living history museum. In addition, Andy assisted his father in building a Fokker D-7 aircraft. This inspired Andy to include flyable vintage aircraft in the museum. The Vintage Aero Flying Museum houses one of the largest collections of World War I memorabilia in the world. These items can only be found here in this collection and include significant personal memorabilia from 47 World War I aces. It also houses a significant collection of Golden Age of aviation and World War II aviation memorabilia. This rare World War I museum and its growth has been recognized by movie makers. Involvement in such movies as The Aviator, Flyboys, Young Indiana Jones series, and others have created the impetus for a documentary film project. Emmy Award-winning director Art Anacarico is proud to present a full-length human interest and historical documentary about the Vintage Aero Flying Museum, its aircraft, and the pilots of today and yesterday. The Vintage Aero Flying Museum is preparing 3 aircraft to participate in this documentary project, depicting the challenges of flying these unique machines during World War I. A pilot's story is based on the real flyboys of World War I and their modern-day counterparts who are flying the Fokker D-7, the Fokker DR-1, and the Fokker D-8. The Fokker D-7 was built by Dr. James J. Parks from original blueprints. Dr. Parks built this aircraft in his garage with Andy as a youngster helping out. Assembled and completed at a local Colorado airport, it has been in the family and flown off and on for 40 years. This aircraft was viewed as one of the best fighter aircraft of World War I. It bears the colors and markings of Ernst Udet, a famous World War I aviator. With 62 victories, he was the second highest ace for Germany, revered by both foe and friend. In the 1930s, he was a barnstormer. The Fokker D-8 aircraft framework was acquired in 2005 by the museum. The D-8 was completed by Mike DeSanti, Mark Holliday, and Andy Parks in 2008. The markings on this distinctive aircraft are from German ace Gotthard Sachsenberg, who had 31 victories in World War I. He desired to be recognized by his flamboyant yellow and black harlequin pattern on its fuselage and his bright green wing. First-hand information of the personality and flying ability of Sachsenberg were provided by a comrade Andy Parks knew named Vander Osten. The Fokker DR-1 was built by John Eberly in the late 1970s and in 1998 was acquired by the museum. It is the most recognizable aircraft, partially due to Charles M. Schulz and his cartoon characterization of Snoopy and the Red Baron. There was in fact a real Red Baron, Rittmeister Baron von Richthofen, the ace of aces, with 80 victories, whose artifacts are presented in the museum collection. The DR-1 is a difficult aircraft to fly. Its tri-wing construction makes for limited visibility, and extreme concentration is required. In the documentary, the Fokker DR-1 will be flown by Mark Holliday. Mark Holliday is a well-known general aviation pilot, as well as a very respected retired airline pilot. He has ferried, transported by flying, many general aviation, antique, and vintage aircraft all across the country. At 16 years old, he soloed in 28 different aircraft. Mark Holliday has the experience and expertise to fly this very demanding triplane. The Fokker D-7 will be flown by Dan Murray. Dan Murray loves to fly his 1928 Travel Air and hops rides and barnstorms today. He has built and restored many aircraft for a number of people, including the Air Force Museum in Dayton, Ohio. The Travel Air is nicknamed the Wichita Fokker because of its many similarities to the Fokker D-7 aircraft. Dan Murray also did the flying in the made-for-TV movies Amelia Earhart and Amelia Earhart, The Untold Story, starring Lindsay Wagner. He has also been featured in many TV commercials, flying in his Travel Air. The Fokker D-8 will be flown by Andrew King. Andrew King is the youngest of the three pilots, but very accomplished in his own unique experiences. He has flown over 128 different aircraft, and the vast majority of those were vintage and antique. He carries the distinction as the only qualified pilot of a one-of-a-kind Pitcairn autogyro. He first flew the Fokker triplane at age 19, and since amassed significant experience to become the go-to guy for vintage aircraft expertise. His movie and consulting background include Flyboys, and he also builds and restores vintage and antique aircraft. In order to fulfill the reality of this important historical documentary, we need your support. Depending on your corporate or company identity, we will include your product or services in the film. For example, if you provide us with food, fuel, or transportation, your product and/or company logo will be featured in the film. Additionally, you will be recognized in a listing of support in the credits and printed material. An added benefit to this terrific exposure is the fact that the Vintage Aero Flying Museum, home of the Lafayette Foundation, is a 501c3 not-for-profit organization, and all monetary donations are 100% tax-deductible. Join us then as this story unfolds about three modern-day aviators who are planning an epic flight to fly 3 World War I replica aircraft across the United States. For the first time ever in history, these planes will join this country's largest gathering of replica World War I aircraft and reenactors at the Air Force Museum in Dayton, Ohio. Share in the preservation of the duty, esprit de corps, sacrifice, and honor depicted through revisiting early First World War aircraft as they are flown in present time, contrasting original black and white footage with vivid 1080 high-def photography. How wonderful to be a part of this unique experience. And for your consideration of support, we truly thank you.